तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब स्वामनुसन्तदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः, देवाय तस्मै नमः। In the last session we saw important points from the first, second and third chapters. In the second chapter we saw how Krishna introduces the subject matter, especially when somebody is in distress, in certain amount of confusion about what to do. That is when Bhagavan Krishna, as a teacher, he shows his excellence in psychology, psychiatry. Psychologists are only talkers. Psychiatrists are those who are allowed to give medicine also, correct? Nowadays psychologists also allowed to some extent. But the greatest medicine that one can give for any problem is to show how to think. See, if it is a physical problem, then one has to take medicine which will cure a particular part of the body, which will heal it, etc. But to mind to get healed, I cannot do anything to you, or no medicine can really heal a mental problem, a psychological issue. That requires a different way of thinking. So what Gita provides us is the method of thinking. Arjuna was confused about his priority. What to do? Problem. Started with a problem. Katam bhishmamaham sankhe dronam cha madhusodana ishibi pradiyotsyami pujarha arisudana. Those who should be worshipped, how can I even raise a bow and arrow in front of them? That was his problem, and Krishna very clearly said, first of all, you understand you are not killing any being, you are only killing the body, the shell. So nobody is actually getting killed. And understand one thing, that you were always there, I was always there, everybody was always there. We will be there in the future also. Because of the nature of your existence. Natve vaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janadipaha, nachaiva nabhavishyamaha, sarve vayam atapparam. And this physical body is that which is a shell, as I said, outside, and even nahanyade hanyamane sharire. Even as the body is killed, the Paramatma, the spirit in you, is never getting killed. Because that which is the very essence and the very presence in you is something which is eternal. It is not something which you can even, first of all, you cannot even comprehend. Nachayate mriyate va katachit nayam bhutva na bhavita na boyaha ajaha nityaha shashvataha puranaha ayam na anyade hanyamane sharira. Even as the body is killed, you cannot kill the self within you. Beware in this particular verse, practice of equanimity. That is, I hope that is, I can't see because the screen is here, I cannot see what is projected there. Is that? That is 2.38. Sukha dukke same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. In life, to practice this highest knowledge, where one can remain ever free, because what we are seeking in our life is how to be free. In every situation we want to find happiness, and freedom and happiness are connected to each other. The freedom is that which gives you happiness, and whenever you are happy to start this time, you are actually free from mental occupation. That's why you go for vacation. Vacation is where you vacate. The mind should be vacated, then only you are free, happy. Your mind is there when you go to that, let us say that you are going to Caribbean island, Jamaica, and go there and blue ocean, blue sky, blue, 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 next to you also. Some high spiritual thing also next. My business is not doing well. My wife never listens to me. My children worse. You go on worrying, then going there, what are you doing then? You better be at home only. So where the mind vacates, where you are free, then happiness is there. So that happiness that you want to enjoy is where you claim your birthright of freedom. Everyone is essentially free. We unnecessarily, unintelligently or unconsciously, we get preoccupied. So Krishna here says, keep that balance all the time. Sukha dukkhe, in joys and sorrows. Labha alabho, in gain and loss. Jaya and ajayao, in success and failure. Same krutva, manaha same krutva. Having kept the equanimity of the mind, yuddhaya yujyasva. Engage in action exclusively for that action only. Then, na evam papam avapsyasi. Then you will not incur sin. Gurudev always had said, sin is not in action, it is in attitude. Sin, the very word sin means, S-I-N, means self-insulting action is called sin. You are convinced about something, but you are doing the opposite. That is sin. You are saying something, but you are not meaning it. That is sin. You thought of something, but your action is different from it. That is sin. Many times you will find your friend or somebody when you are busy with something knocks at the door. Hey, how are you? I want just to be with you, talk to you. Oh, I have so much work to do. Come, I have not seen you so long. That is sin. Because there is a dichotomy between you, the one who is in you, who doesn't want you, doesn't want the fellow, and the other one which is superficially says. Whenever there is a split in us, it is not that sin is that somebody has to put it on your head. Sin is that where you are unable to be with yourself. When you have dichotomized yourself, you have split yourself into two, they both fight with each other. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. No, other way around. Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde. No, I said right only. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Conflict. We are not punished for our sins. We are punished by our sins. So, where our mind has become so negative, and it doesn't want to be negative. How many of you wants to be angry all the time? Jealous? Frustrated? Whenever we have such negativities, actually we are going against ourselves. We are not happy with those conditions of our mind. So, we are basically fighting with ourselves. That is what is the cause, the effect of sin. You are fighting against yourself. Even if you are put in the most beautiful, most comfortable, most affordable, most convenient place, but your mind is disturbed, then how anything will help you there? To some extent, yes. You may forget. After some time, again it comes back. So therefore, here, when you are able to maintain an equanimity within yourself, sukha dukkhe, how do we do that? Krishna clarifies, shift your attention from the personality to the presence. Personality in you is constantly in fight with outside world. I want this, I don't want this, and what you want you always you get. What you do not want comes back to you again and again. Instead of remaining only in the vyavaharika satta, transactional reality, go to the absolute. Take shelter in something greater. Take something which is more permanent. Identify yourself with something which is much of greater strength in you. When you shift this attention to the higher, the mind remains equanimous. Mind settles down. So long as I am a part of the changing world, I cannot but be a victim of the change. When I move my attention to and identify with the changeless, the changes are witnessed, not suffered. It is cold, it is hot, no doubt. Sometimes it is hot, sometimes it is cold. I cannot help it. But you say, this is after all summer season. It has to be like that. You go on complain. How can anybody help? Put on the AC. The AC is not available. It's all because of you. Can you say somebody, it's all hot because of you. I cannot go on blaming the world for a weather condition. And weather is weather because it is weather. Weather is this way, weather that way. That's why it's called weather. Because nobody knows. Sometimes it is cold, sometimes it is hot. So as much as the external conditions in this world cannot be my decision, therefore I must grow mature enough to accept it. So also, my actions when I perform in this world, I cannot decide the results. Krishna clarifies this point. It's a beautiful law of karma, or the logic of karma. Understand one thing, you do your action, but don't ever think that you can decide the result. This is one of the very famous verse, the science of action. Next verse. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbuhu Mate sangostva karmani. Adhikara means right. qualification. You are qualified to act. Karmani eva adhikaraha. Te to you. Karmani in action. Eva alone. Adhikaraha. Right. Ma phaleshu adhikaraha taste. To you, there is no adhikar, or you do not have any ability to decide the result. There are two ways of interpreting this verse. One is, you have the right to act, not on the result. That is one meaning. Second is, you choose your action and not the results. I can choose what to do, but I cannot choose what to happen. If that is the case, your children would have been better. Because you say, Maramta, you are gone to me. Because you have no choice. You made a choice of your own husband or man, or wife. Do you regret for that? Sometimes, yes. You made the choice. Did I make a choice about my parents? No. Did I make a choice about my brother? No, I didn't. Or sister? No. Friends, yes. So I have certain choices. In those choices, you be aware what you are doing. But even you make the best of the choice, the result is not always the same. Ma phaleshu kadachana. At no time you have choice over the result of your own action. So what should I do? Don't become a victim of what happens to you. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Hetuhu means cause. Karma phala hetuhu ma bhuhu. Don't you become a victim of the result of your own action. Meaning, you should know that even though I did my best, the result that came is not what I expected. Therefore, I should do better next time. Instead of sitting and crying and complaining and condemning and then getting depressed, so what? This result didn't come as I expected. So what? Let me do it again. I'll do it better. Therefore, never stop working. Ma te sangaha astu akarmani. Te akarmani ma sangaha astu. Let it not be that you resort to actionlessness. Do not become inactive. Our own Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, he worked so hard and so long, 40 years of continuously traveling and teaching. He said, till last breath, I want to be useful to this world. And that he did. Such masters only inspire us and they live by what Gita has said. And not that all that he has undertaken have become successful. He never said, no, I will do my best. If the result is not according to my own expectation, doesn't matter. Just leave it aside. Do something else. Do better. Never sit down and cry looking back at what happened. Learn from the past, don't live there. So these are all the words that has come out of his own wisdom of life. Seeing what life is. And that the very inspiration, the very vision came from Bhagavad Gita. The Mother Gita, therefore, very fondly advises us, please, do your best. Choose your action. Know that you have no choice over the result of your action. Now, I am talking to you. How can I be sure that all of you are understanding? I always ask this question when I give an apple to anybody. How do you make sure that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? It's a statement, right? An apple a day keeps the doctor. How do you make sure that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Best thing is take the apple and throw at him. That's the only way that he can. So, anyway, why did that come? So when I'm telling you something, how do I make sure that you all understand? I can do my best, but some of you may be still texting, to your friend in the corner sitting there. Did the Swami talk? I cannot stop that. It's your choice. Or your mind is occupied with something else. So I can do only my best, but I cannot expect the result to be best. Because I cannot decide this. There are so many factors that decide a result. You plant a tree and give a lot of fertilizer and whatever not and water and then it's exposed to sun, everything. But what kind of a fruit will come is not my decision. In the same way, action you should engage. Result is not decided by you. Therefore, don't become a victim. Don't expect everything to happen the way you want. If you do that, you will be continuously disappointed. With your children also, do your best. Give them the correct education, noble values, etc. Then, let them explore the world. Don't expect them to behave exactly the way you want. They will never do that. Do you do with exactly what your parents wanted? Did you do? Don't talk about me that, what's with Swamiji? I will have to talk to your mother only. I mean, out of her compassion and love, she's a nice girl, Back of the mind, she's the tomboy she was. Never listened to anything of mine. Similarly, you tell about your children also. Know that you cannot decide somebody else's destiny. You can only guide them to the right path. So let us engage in action. We choose our actions rightly. Let us understand that we cannot decide the result. We can plan for a result, but not decide the result. Nobody can act without planning for a result. Don't say, don't think about the result at all. Think about the result. Without that, action would not take place. If you don't want nothing, why do you even act? You do action because you want a particular thing to happen. But then if it doesn't happen, okay, let me do better. Prayojanam anuddishya moodaha api na pravartate. Without thinking about the result, even a fool won't act. So think about the result. Accordingly, plan your action. Engage in action. While engaging in action, don't be anxious about the result. And as the result come, accept it with the grace. Like a prasad. Prasade sarva dukkhanam anirasya prasanna chetaso kyashu buddhi paryavadishtade. Krishna gives the idea of how to gain peace. When you receive the result as a prasada means as a grace, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate. Then all the mental excitement and agitations will settle down. Prasanna chetas. Mind has become pleasant and pleased, placid. Prasanna chetaso hi ashu buddhihi paryavadishtade. Such a mind which has become quiet and calm, the intellect becomes brilliant. Because the mind, intellect is always brilliant. But mind doesn't allow it to be. It is not that we do not know what to do, but when we want to do, mind is not available. Mind is disturbed. So when the mind has become quiet, brilliance shines forth. Prasanna chetaso hi ashu. Immediately, buddhi paryavadishtade. Nasti buddhi rayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayadashantihe ashantasya kutasukam. When the mind has become, intellect has become bright, mind has become quiet, that is when it's called meditation is effective. And then in the meditation, in the quietude, you will find peace. And peace alone is true happiness. What else is? Ashantasya kutasukam. But the mind which is not peaceful, where can there be joy? So action you must. Act you must. Result you do not. Face the result as it comes. Never stop acting. Such a beautiful word of wisdom. Why the mind is getting agitated all the time? Why we are so anxious about the result? Because our desires have no end. There is no end to our desire, because one is over, another comes. When that is over, another 100 of them come. You go to the Lord and to the Bhagavan in the beginning stages of your life. Let me study well. Please make me remember what I studied. I want to excel. I want to become a good student. I want to win. Get all A grade. Oh, no. You got all A grades. I must get the right college, right university I must go. You got the right university. Then you go to the university. I must, finish all my projects. I must have a good, I must, honors. Honors also. I must get a good job, you got job also. I must get a good life partner. You got married also. And then I must have good children. Children also. The children should study. Never ends. It never ends. Where does it end? You tell me. Today's desire is over. Do you think it's over? By the end of the day, tomorrow's desires have started already. There is no end to this desire. It is like a fire. You could put more, it grows more. More you put, more it grows. So it is Buddha's wisdom as well as Krishna's wisdom here. He says, find out the end of desire. Then you have enlightened yourself. Enlightenment is in elimination of the source of desire. Not just desire, source of desire. So as a beautiful, symbolism or a simile, he says, just like the rivers from various places flow into the ocean, but ocean never rises up. It is able to accommodate all the waters that are coming from different places, but it maintains its level. So the next verse is saying, Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve Sashantim apnoti na kama kami. There are 4 kinds of people, students you have in any school. Those who are nerds, sorry to say that, always looking about A. I want to get A, I want to get A. Go on studying. Good. Parents also want that. My child, always A grade. One boy came back home and said, my report card is all wet. So, Dad asked, wet? What do you mean by wet? Yeah, everything under C. So, they study well, they become nice, great professionals and all this. There are mediocre, B grade. They have other interests, but their study is not as important to them. B grade. They don't become big professionals, but okay. C grade. They find every escape not to study. C grade. D grade is D grade. Never study. D grade. This A grade people become officials, meaning professionals, administrative and other things, and becomes A grade professionals. B is business. These B grade people employ the A grade people. Because they know how to manage money, how to manage others. They may not be good in their studies or in their technical thing, but they know how to manipulate things to do things. So the B grade business people. They employ the A. C are the politicians. They know how to use business people for their purposes. They survive on this business and then they know how to, okay, I will give you this license and then I will give that. So they manage or they are superior to this B. B is superior to A. And D are the underground. The dadas. They manage the C. C manages the B. B manages A. So tell me, my dear friends, which grade your children have to be? No, I don't want to tell the children, only to you. So anyway, desire never ends. They are like various waters that are, when the rain comes down, it pours on the whole hills and mountains and then they all become streams and they go on moving, collecting. And then they become a huge river and then they gush towards the ocean. But when they reach the ocean, quiet. Until then there is so much of power and so much of force of the ocean. If you've seen Ganges, etc. When they come down, there's such a power. Look at the Ganga Sagar. So quiet. And they enter the ocean, disappear. Ocean doesn't rise up. It rises, it remains calm. Deeper the ocean, calmer it will become. Apuryamanam, even though poured, achala pradishtam, remaining calm, samudram. Samudram, achala pradishtam. Achala, unmoving. Pradishtam, established. Samudram. The ocean is quiet. Even though water is poured continuously. Apaha pravishanti. Yadvat. Just as Apaha pravishanti apuryamanam. When the waters are flowing in continuously, there is no end to it. Constant pouring of water. There is no holiday for the rivers. River holidays. Water holiday may be there. No, you don't use water. But river holidays, the ocean doesn't take any holiday. Nature never takes holiday. Does the nature take holiday? Today is Sunday. No more growing. Nature is constantly working, 24 hours. Gurudev used to tell us, as workers of the spiritual workers, you must be 24 hours working. When you know that you are not working, you are only serving, there is no tiredness anymore. Work gives you tiredness. Job tires you, not seva. So, continuously the water is flowing, continuously water getting accumulated in the ocean, achala pradishtam samudram. So ocean is calm, in spite of so much of water pouring in. Tadvat, in the same way. Ayam kamaha pravishanti. In the mind of a person who has become highly mature and enlightened, desires do pour into him. Tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve kamaha pravishanti saha shanti mapnoti. He remains peaceful. Na kama kami. Not the one who is desirer of desires. A desirer never is calm. One who has gone beyond the desire is always calm. That calmness is not something which he got it from something external. He realized that I am like the ocean, deep, into whom the desires of waters can just go on pouring, but I have found my own fulfillment. I have found my own depth. Into the depth, any amount of water you put, it is not going to be disturbed. To find the depth in you, to find that inner calmness is the purpose of this discussion on Gita. Within yourself, deep within yourself, all of us are. All of us are potentially of great peace within. peace that passeth all understanding. It's not an intellectual idea. It is an experiential reality. Deep within us, we are so peaceful. That's why when you are sleeping or when you are, deep sleep. What do you mean with deep sleep? You are gone to the depth of yourself. You are calm. At around 2 o'clock, if I knock at your door, what are you doing in the night? Paramatma Swarupa. Why? Rakshasa in you is quiet. No desire, no agitation, no relationship, no expectation, no disappointment. The moment the mind wakes up, moment the desire starts, everything starts. So within, just like that of the ocean which is in its own depth, it's very quiet in spite of so much of water pouring in. So also is the mind of a Sthita Prajna, a man of highly enlightened state of mind, is one in whom all desires will pour in. Not that he will fight with the desire. Let the desire come. But I am not going to become the desirer of desires. Because as I see, hear, taste, smell, touch and interact with the world, there are certain inputs that come to me all the time. All of us. But how you work with that, that decides you whether you want to be peaceful or not. If the world doesn't stop coming into me or coming into any one of us, but how you handle it. You cannot shut your eyes and walk, or shut your ears and nose and walk in the world. It will be there. Once I was in Minnesota and then I had time for my flight. So next to the Minneapolis airport is big mall. America's biggest mall. They have a straight train from the airport to that mall, straight. So somebody who came to drop me to the airport and we found that flight is delayed 2 hours. So Swamiji, what do we do? I said, let us go for a walk. It is a nice weather. Hardly there is a nice weather in Minneapolis, but that was a nice weather. So however, that was what it looked like from the from outside when you open. This is so cold. For me it was cold. For them it's okay. So then where do we go for a walk? Swamiji, can I suggest? Yes. There is a big mall. You can go by the train and then we walk for an hour or so and come back. I said, first condition, what? Never take your wallet with you. No credit card you should carry with you. Then you come with me. Why? Don't. Because there are so many things that are there in the 3 or 4 levels of this. Window shopping will lead you to, while walking you may see many things, but you won't stop. Hey, this is a new thing, stop. Where is walking then? If you are going to walk, no carrying of any of those. It was hard for him, but much harder for his wife. She also came with us. So we were walking, and I was going fast, and then he was trying to pace up with me, and he was... Then after some time, where is your wife? Swamiji. She stopped long time back. And by the time we finished and came, she had 2-3 handbags. I told you, that you told only my husband, not me. You cannot stop the world coming into you. What you see, what you hear, taste, smell, touch, interact will bring in so many new thoughts. The moment you talk to somebody, that thoughts of that person will come to you, or what he says or what she says. You switch on the TV, there are so many things that will be there. You open a book, you open a web, so many things will come in. But how you handle is what? Don't fight with the world. Even though the world is bringing so many thoughts and desire to you, how you maintain your balance? That shows how mature you are. So please don't misunderstand that Hinduism is all about running away. It is not running away. It is growing up. It is not just, okay, everybody go to the solitude, go to the remote corner and sit there and then do nothing. It's not that. Right in the field of action, right in the middle of happening, how to keep your mind. In spite of all that attractions and all various things that can probably distract our attention, where is your focus? If your priority is peace, then let your mind be not distracted by anything else. If the priority is peace. If we don't keep that priority clear, then we will be distracted by anything and everything. Apuryamanam achala pradishtam samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kama kami na kamasya kami shantim apnoti. A desirer of desires never get peace. Yam sarve kamaha pravishanti Yadvad apaha pravishanti achala pradishtam samudram iva yah tishtati sa shantim apnoti. He who is able to remain calm like that of the ocean into which the water is flowing, in the same way when the desires flow into him, he remains quiet. That is a person of enlightenment. Continuing, Bhagavan proceeds on to the next chapter, which begins with a question. I have not put that question here. Here he gives the answer. The question was raised by Arjuna. He says, "O Lord, if you, according to you, quietening the mind, rising above, becoming mature, rising above likes and dislikes, or not disturbed by what is happening around, if that is the goal which I need to achieve to become enlightened, why should I fight?" What is the purpose of you putting me into this action? Why should I act? I can also withdraw from this world. And then remain in solitude, and then purify my mind, and then gain that inner maturity and freedom. Why should I engage in this terrible war? Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir. Te mata, your opinion is buddhihi jayasi chet. If thinking is greater than working, why should you put me into work? Many people, they are afraid of work in this world. They become researchers. Go on researching. I don't know what they are searching, but they are keeping on searching, researching. Some people don't want to leave the university at all. They are so fond of university. Those who cannot work, teach. Don't look at me, Those who cannot teach, consult. No, the other way. Those who cannot work, consult. Those who cannot consult, teach. So some people are so fond of this research idea, they are just afraid of working. So Arjuna is also, thinking is important. Jayasi chet karmanaha buddhihi mada. Buddhihi jayasi chet. If buddhi, thinking is greater than working, tat kim gore karmani mam niyojayasi. Then why are you putting me in this? Why are you engaging me in this terrible war of killing? Not even just working, killing. So Krishna has to open up this chapter called Karma Yoga. He will always approach the subject from a broadest perspective. That's the idea of any teaching. You cannot just answer the question what you have asked. But let me give you the background of that, and then I will make you think. He says, see this verse, Lokesmin dvividha nishta Pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yoginam. Asmin loke, in this world, dvivida nishta. There are two paths. Maya, he anaga, maya pura prokta. This is declared by me in the past. So now Krishna elevates himself to the position of the Supreme Lord. Often he moves in between. As a friend, he will inform or suggest to Arjuna. Suddenly he will move to the highest state. As Ishvara, I am telling you, the Lord is now talking to you. That he will move. So he will come to the transactional reality to advise, and when the clarity is not there, he will switch himself to the Supreme Nature. So there, from that point, he says, by me in the past it is said, I have declared, there are two paths in this world. And even today it is applicable. Sankhyanam jnana yogena, yoginam karma yogena. For those people who are prone to action, the path of action. Those who are capable of thinking, the path of thinking. Path of knowledge. Sankhya yogena yogi. Sankhya yogam, Sankhyanam jnana yogena. Sankhya, the very word means samyak khyayate, it is Sankhya. That which is spoken well. Even in any gathering or any your own friend circle, or especially in a classroom atmosphere, you will find there are two kinds of people. Those who think and those who cannot think. They are men of action, always ready. Come on, come on. What do I do? What should I do? What should I do? They cannot keep quiet. Sit down and study. Yes. What should I do? Hey, study, sit down and think. So, thinking is for those people who are capable of going deeper and deeper. And it is not a mistake that you are not a person of thinking. You are also necessary. Like body is necessary for working and mind is necessary for thinking. Are they not together? They are together. You have to think and act. But you just thinking and not acting is also not right. Acting and without thinking is also not right. So here he said there is two people are there always. Asmin loke dvivida anishta pura prokta maya jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yoginam. So Arjuna is waiting. You didn't answer my question. I asked the question. If enlightenment and real peace is obtained only by thinking, why are you putting him into action? Indirectly, Krishna says, unfortunately, you are of the second category. But you cannot dare directly tell him, you are not a thinker, you don't think at all. Because he being by birth, he is a soldier. He is a warrior. And in any army, you cannot go on logical reasoning. If the commander says, about turn, left, right, stand, shoot. Why? Go ask questions. If the commander gives a command, that's why he's called a commander. He gives a command, go on and then shoot. That's the enemy. Come on, fire. At that time, should I? What do you think? What's your opinion? Nobody's opinion is asked, because he already thought about it. He gives an order, you just have to follow. And unfortunately here, Arjuna is started thinking. If he was not a man of thinking, why Krishna is not talking to Bhima? He never thinks. Even before he tells, he will do it. Arjuna started thinking. But his thinking has led to this question, why Why should I be put into action? He says, this is generally the case. Two kinds of people who act and who think. All right. One thing you also know, that even thinking is an action. Thinking also exhausts energy, but thinking is also an action. Because nobody in this world will ever remain without doing an action. Act you must. As he says in the next verse, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jadu tishtatya karma krite karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti jair gunaihi. Kaschit, no one. Na kaschit, no one. Kaschit means someone. Na kaschit, not anyone in this world. Jadu tishtati. Kshanamapi akarmakrit. Akarmakrit, without action. Not even a moment a person can remain. Na jadu tishtati. Kshanamapi akarmakrit. Kaschit. No one in this world will ever remain without acting even for a moment. Swamiji, from 9 o'clock onwards, until now, you are the only person who is constantly blabbering. And we are just sitting there doing nothing. You are sitting there all right, but your mind is working. I hope. If that is also not there, then that will be a real problem. Even as you are sitting there, involuntary activities are going on. Huh? The 3.5 bread that you had in the morning, that is working within your body, getting digested, your breathing. Huh? All those things are also going on in your body, whether you know it or not. Apart from that, your mind, one part of the mind is still doing something else. Physically, you may not be active, but there are other activities that are going on constantly. Or you are at least planning for an action. After this, Swamiji finishes, then I have to go back, go out, have my prasad. First of all, I have to find where my shoes are. Then I go home, I have to do this. So already you are thinking about it. Karyate hi avasha karma. Avasha, without control. Karyate hi, he has to do, one has to be engaged. Why? Prakriti jaihi gunaihi sarva. Everyone is prompted by one's own prakriti. After having this finished the class, where do you go? Where do you go? All of you go to the same place. One may go to pick up the children, another may say, oh, no, I don't care about prasad, I have to go rush home. Another person may go there. So every one of us are prompted by what? Not by anybody else. By our own prakriti, by our own nature, by our own habits, our own preconceived notions, our own plans, our own priorities. So no one remains actionless in this world. Gurudev says, action is the signature of life. Like your signature is so unique. Your actions are so much, so personal, so individualistic. No one repeats somebody else's action. So every one of us are engaged in action. What kind of action that we do, that depends upon what kind of knowledge base we have. In any organization or any manufacturing organization, there are so many, there are workers who are there working, that they physically doing sweating and all those things. There are supervisors, they are considered themselves wiser than everybody else. Supervisors. So looking at what other fellows are doing and make a mistake and then go and tell him. Then there is a manager there. Then there is a department head is there. Then there is a director or somebody. These go on. And then CEO comfortably sitting. His action is different. Not that he is not doing anything. Where do I get the loan from? Whom do I pay? Whom do I not pay? Huh? When do I pay? When do I not pay? How to get a new contract? His mind is on a different scale. It is working. He is not working like a fellow who is working in the workshop there and sweating and toiling. His idea is what? Let me finish this product. Let me this. He is not bothered about who is going to sell. My job is to finish this product. So his attention is on that, whereas the CEO's attention is somewhere else. But both of them working for the same organization. Is it? Is it not? Everyone is acting according to their own prakriti. Just like in your own body also, there are various parts, various functions are there. One cannot repeat somebody else's role. What eyes can do, ears cannot do, what ears can do, nose cannot. So everyone's department is different, their activity is department, but it's working on the same body. Act, you must. According to your own prakriti, you act. No one can remain actionless. So Arjuna, as I said that there are different levels of people, I'm not saying one is superior to another, I'm not saying that. But there are two different kinds of people. Those who just act, those who just think. So thinking is not superior to action or action is inferior to, I'm not saying that. That's their nature. Even in your own home also there are two children, let us say. One, he always thinks before what he does. And careful about. Other fellow, you say, do it. Just run. You don't even ask. Our Gurudev used to give the example. There are teenagers, who never listen carefully. So the father said, hey, go to the next house, and the fellow's gone already. Where is he? Gone. You asked him to go. I didn't even finish the sentence. Why should it go there? You call him. Wait. When you go to their house, when you meet your friend's father, he's gone. Right? You said meet father. Let me finish the sentence. So that fellow is only to act. He will not even listen fully. Someone, you tell him 125 times. Oh, why don't you get up and do something about it? I am giving an exaggerated idea. So these two people are there and everyone acts according to their own prakriti. This is the nature of things. Very good. So then Arjuna is still wondering, you have not answered my question. What? Why are you putting me into this action? Like Krishna smiling and says, I never put you into action. That is your duty. Nobody can force anybody to act. Even if he or she does, it is only temporary. What you will engage in is what you are, your prakriti would force you to do. Number one. Number two, that is you alone can do that. That is what is called swadharma or niyata karma or called kartavya karma. Just like when I am hungry, if I am not hungry, how much ever you try to make me to eat, I may eat for you, not for myself. But if I am hungry, I don't ask anybody, what is your opinion when I am hungry? Should I eat? What's your opinion, sir? What is your opinion? I don't ask for anybody's opinion when it comes to me, my hunger. Should you ask anybody, should I sleep or not? What do you think? Swamiji, in your lecture, should I sleep or not? What's your opinion? Even if I have the opinion, it is not. Will you listen? So, a duty is that which you like it or not, you will be performing. You should be performing. But that's what he says in the next verse. We read and we'll see the explanation next time. Niyatam kuru karmatvam कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः कर्म अकर्मणः ज्यायः. To act is better than not to act. Karma jayah better than akarma. Akarmanah jayah karma. Than an action is better. Shreya. Tvam niyatam karma kuru. Therefore always engage in action. To do is better than remaining not to do. Especially for Arjuna, he is pointing it out. He says, even to maintain this physical body, sharira yatra api, te, for you, even as to maintain this physical body, akarmanaha na prasiddhet. Actionlessness is not prescribed. Even to maintain this physical body, one has to act. Even to take care of this physical body, one has to engage in action. So now he is giving importance of not just acting, but also doing the right thing, which is what is called duty. Whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, whether you wish it or not. But so when we engage in what we need to engage in, how to keep our mind as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, as a worker, as a professional, how we should keep our mind while engaging in action. So let us see that in the next session. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkhabhat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.